Hello YouTube, De-bodgery here. Alright, so in my previous video, I've already done this, I've already soldered these wires together, but I'm going to unsolder them. So let me clean off my tip. Okay, so if you don't have a soldering station, first off, get a soldering station. I have a Hacko 936, which I have been using since 2000 new when I bought it new. Alright, so what I'm doing right now is, alright, this is something else that people do. So I just wiped off my tip, and now there's really not any solder on it. And right here I've got this little blob. If your tip is too clean, you're not going to flow very good. You're not going to melt connections, things like that so well. A tip that's slightly wet, like this is, it's just got a little bit of solder on it, is going to melt solder connections a lot better, or it's going to join solder connections together a lot better. So anyway, I've got two ends. This one is pre-tinned, that end is pre-tinned, and I got a little bit of wet on my soldering iron. So anyway, I touched the two wires together. This is how I join wires together. I pre-tin everything. So in my previous video, I showed that I dip the end in flux, and then I dip the wire into my molten puddle of solder, and then instant tinning on the ends. And the wire is completely saturated with solder, without people sitting there, with the soldering iron on the wire for 10 minutes trying to get it to melt in there. This is like quick and simple and super fast, and it always works. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to solder these two wires together. Slightly wet soldering iron, two pre-tinned wire ends. I bring them together, and I touch. That's it. So a little bit of solder, so the tip is a little bit less wet. And the wires now have a good flow of solder. So first thing I'm going to do is show it's a nice strong joint. It's not going anywhere. Second thing is, hopefully this shows up on camera pretty good. If you look at that connection, it's shiny. There is no starvation. There's no cold solder joint. There is a lot of cross flow between the two wires to each other, i.e. lots of good solder flow between the two. And it took me a second. Just, my tip was dabbed wet. Everything was pre-tinned. Touch, done. No sitting there with heat on it for 5 minutes. Just quick and easy. Always works, and it gives me good solder connections every single time when I'm splicing two wires together. And trust me, it ain't coming apart. I mean, I'll break the wire first. That connection is solid as solid can be. So yeah, this is De-bodgery saying, if there's one thing I want to tell you to do my way, do it this way, because this definitely always works. And this will work with 8-gauge wire. This will work with, this is 16-gauge. This will work with any size wire you want. Here's some 24-gauge wire. I can splice the two pieces of that together the exact same way, and it always works really well, and I don't melt my insulation like everybody else does, because they're sitting there with their soldering iron trying to heat the damn thing up while they're trying to flow solder into the wire ends. Just have some flux handy, dip your ends in, dip it in the puddle, join the two wires together, bam, you're done. It takes seconds. It's so much easier and so much quicker than any other fiddling around with trying to flow solder into it and use the flux in the core of the solder. An old puddle of solder is a much better way to go. Enjoy. I hope you all find this video helpful and that you do what I do. Talk to you later. Bye.